another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Now today I'm going to remake an old video, one of the first videos I ever made, because I think the subject matter was good, but it simply didn't turn out the way I liked. And I'm going to talk about Cartier, and the fact that I don't think they get enough love by us watch collectors. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing the Panerai Radiomir PAM 380. I haven't worn it in actually quite a while since I came back from Miami. And, I was just cleaning up my office and I opened up my travel watch box and it was the only watch still in there. So I'm like, hey, why not? Let's put it on for the day. So anyway, let's talk about Cartier. Now, when we think about Cartier, we think of watches, jewelry, sunglasses, belts, accessories. They're a lifestyle brand. However, I was reading on a forum the other day that a lot of people consider them to be a fashion watch. And that actually kind of upset me a little bit. I mean, of course it's a matter of opinion, and feel free to disagree with me, but I don't think they're a fashion watch at all. I think they're a true watchmaking brand. Yes, they make some lifestyle products, but to me, they just have too much history and too much behind them to be considered a fashion watch. Cartier was created in 1847 in Paris, and they are responsible for actually creating the world's first wristwatch. Now, yes, there have been wristwatches before, but this is the first watch designed to be worn purely on a wrist. It was, of course, the Cartier Santos. It was created in 1904 for Alberto Santos Dumont, who was a friend of Mr. Cartier. Now, Mr. Santos Dumont, who the watch is named after, was a pioneer in flight. He was one of the early, pioneers in dirigibles and flying technology. And he entered a competition to see who could be the fastest person to circumvent the Eiffel Tower in a dirigible, something like a Zeppelin. And of course, there's many controls. And he didn't want to hold a pocket watch. So he asked his friend, Mr. Cartier, I believe it was Louis Cartier at that time, to see if he could help. And of course, he designed the Santos to be worn on the wrist so he could have all his hands on the controls and check the time at the same time. So as we can see already in the history of wristwatches, Cartier is a pioneer. Now, of course, another icon they created was the Cartier tank watch. This was created during World War I, and the design was inspired after a Renault tank. World War I was the first war to have tank warfare, so it was a pretty shocking sight. And the first tank watch was gifted to General Pershing, an American general, an American tank general. Now, if you consider what a tank watch is, it's almost like a synonym for a square watch. Cartier invented the Cartier tank, but many other square watches are called a tank watch to this day. So as we can see, there's a lot of pioneering going on, especially in the older days. Now, of course, Cartier is also known for their jewelry. They're known as the king of jewelers and jewelers to the kings because of their craftsmanship. But this shouldn't take away any of their watchmaking prowess. Nowadays, Cartier actually has one of the most innovative watch workshops in the market. It's run by someone named Carol Forestier. Now, Carol Forestier used to run Renault & Papy. Now, Renault & Papy, you might not have heard of them. They're a company that specifically create complications for other watch brands. AP is actually one of the most famous companies to use Renault & Papy modules to make stuff like perpetual calendars, flyback chronos, tourbillons, and things of that nature. Now, Carol Forestier is the head of the Cartier high-end watchmaking workshop, and they've created some beautiful things, such as the Cartier Jump Hour, which is a complication that the time is read on a disc, and instead of the hand kind of gently moving along, when the minute hand hits 12, the disc quickly changes to show the time, hence the name Jump Hour. And of course, we can't forget the Cartier Astro Tourbillon, which is when the tourbillon cage is attached to the hour hand. So not only is the tourbillon rotating itself, but it's also rotating inside the watch as part of the hour hand. That's pretty insane. and of course their famous mystery watch, which is a watch which you cannot see the inner workings. It's almost completely see-through, and it's very hard to kind of tell how the time is moving because you can't see any gears. It's using a system of sapphire discs. So as you can see, Cartier really is making some high-end things. But of course, the bulk of Cartier's sales are in the mid-range. And yes, they do use some ETA movements along with others in their mid-range. A lot of the Ballon Bleus, those use ETA 2892s. A lot of the Pashas are higher end, they actually use Frédéric Piguet movements, nowadays called Manufacture Blancpain. And guess what? The famous Santos Dumont uses an ultra-thin Piaget movement. But so what? A lot of other brands do this as well. AP still doesn't make an in-house chronograph movement for the Royal Oak. Vacheron Constantin used to use Jaeger movements. Breguet still uses Manufacture Blancpain, and Manufacture Blancpain is actually just Frédéric Piguet, but renamed now that they're owned by the Swatch Group. Not to mention, Cartier has also made strides in this area of watchmaking. They've created the caliber 1904 MC. 1904, a reference to the date of the first wristwatch. And it's used in watches such as the Cartier Calibre, the Drive, and of course the Tank MC. They've also made chronograph modules for it. So when I hear people call Cartier a fashion watch or a fashion house, yeah, it sparks a little bit of, resentment in me. Now, full disclosure, I actually used to work for Cartier. It was my first job. I was a sales specialist in their watch department. So maybe I've been brainwashed a little bit. But I think there's a lot more to the brand than just fashion. Now, yes, a watch is more than just the movement, because if we're talking only movements, then, Jaeger might be the best of all time, or maybe even Lange & Söhne. Cartier has innovated not only in designs, things like the Santos, the exposed screws, the first wristwatch, the Tank, which obviously we can all see is a great track record, but they've also done quite a bit with movements, more so nowadays than in the past. So if you take a watch as a sum of all its parts, which is design, case, and movement, then I think Cartier absolutely has to be considered one of the premier watch houses in the world and of all time, if not only for their history. But then again, I think a brand does lose a little bit of respect unfairly, in my view, when they create other products. Piaget is unjustly considered a jewelry brand, even though they started off as a movement maker. Chopard gets kind of, looked down upon sometimes because they make a lot of jewelry watches and jewelry pieces. But, we forget that women are a big part of this market. And other brands like Patek, they can do no wrong, when the truth is Patek has a whole line of jewelry, and so does Breguet. It just doesn't do as well. So are we really going to punish people for their success, especially in the case of Cartier, which is one of the most recognizable, lifestyle brands, because they sell a lot of other stuff very successfully. But that shouldn't take away from their horological prestige. Anyway, guys, I know that was a little bit of a rant, but what do you guys think? Am I completely nuts? Of course, my opinion isn't gospel. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. And please subscribe, because this Tuesday, I've got something pretty special coming up, and you guys probably wouldn't want to miss it. So subscribe and slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. It really does help me out. And of course, follow me on Instagram. That's at Federico Talks Watches. Link in the description below. Thank you so much for sticking around for another episode of Federico Talks Watches, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.